Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to our next little mini unit here. We're going to be talking about the American Revolution this week. Some things you probably recognize and already know, but it's important to discuss for world history as well. So our first lesson here, we're going to be taking a look at Great Britain and its colonies. So we have our objectives and standards here. Explain how Great Britain became a global power, and how they became a global power, and understand how American colonists became frustrated under British rule. And take a moment there to look over the standards, please. And our desired result, how did Great Britain grow as a world power? So think about some of the elements which allow for Great Britain to grow as a world power, and then how did they kind of expand that world power as well? So Great Britain had become a world power by the 1700s, and the struggles of the 1600s, especially with the English Civil War and the Glorious Revolution, caused a new king to seeking to restore the powers of the crown as well. Now, England's growth has a couple of causes as well. One of them is that it's located along the sea, and sea routes that helped expand trade. We also have colonial growth by England in North America, Asia, and Africa, which allowed for more economic expansion. And we also have businesses and commerce that had favorable economic policies that allowed for growth as well. So those three reasons are going to help England grow as a global power. Now, Britain expands territory. England was typically on the winning side of conflicts during the 1700s. For example, they gained control of most of North America following the 7 Years' War with France and Native Americans. And England also gained territory in Canada, such as Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. In 1701, England and Scotland were united by the Act of Union, which also brought economic advantages, and Wales was also included under the United Kingdom, and Ireland will be added to the United Kingdom in 1801. So again, we see a lot of growth and expansion that's going to allow for more trade, more economic opportunities, more growth overall that's going to help Great Britain become a global power. Now, the rule of King George III. In 1760, King George III began his 60 years on the throne in England. Now, he was determined to regain the powers the monarchy had lost since the Glorious Revolution. Remember that under the Glorious Revolution, we have a very limited monarchy. We have a Bill of Rights for the people. The monarchs sharing power with Parliament. So King George III, he kind of wants to roll back some of those changes. And King George III is going to set out to reapply his power as monarch. One of the things he wanted to do was he wanted to choose his own ministers, he wanted to dissolve the cabinet system, and he wanted to make Parliament follow his will and follow his power instead of sharing that power. Now, we also know now that King George III also kind of suffered from some mental illness as well, which is going to maybe impact his decision making. But one of the things that he also does is he appoints many of his friends to Parliament and initiated policies that would become very unpopular, especially with the American colonies, and eventually the decisions that he and his supporters are going to make will cost Great Britain the colonies as well. Now, the American colonies. By the 1750s, there were a line of prosperous British colonies along the east coast of North America. You can kind of see that here on the map, and I'm sure you probably recognize a lot of these colonies. I'm trying to circle them here for you, but they're in red along the eastern side of the United States, or of North America. Part of Britain's growing colonial empire included important cities such as New York City, New York, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Boston, Massachusetts. Now, these busy cities of commerce linked North America to Europe, Africa, and Asia as well. However, the British mercantilism policies began to restrict the rights of American colonists, such as the Navigation Acts. And because of these restricting policies, many American colonists began smuggling goods to avoid these policies. Now, they didn't see anything wrong with it. They felt like they were being punished by the British, but the British became angry that Americans were not following these policies. So, diversity and differences. The colonies were also home to diverse or different religious and ethnic groups. We have German Americans, we have Scottish Americans, we have English Americans, we have African Americans as slaves. So there's a bunch of different groups of colonists. And even though they might have different views and come from different backgrounds, many of them are going to, kind of work together here in the future. So although wealthy landowners and merchants typically dominated politics, there was plenty of open discussion among these different groups. Now, many colonists felt they were English citizens and that they should be treated as such. They were part of the British Empire. They felt they should have the same rights and privileges as British citizens, but the British Empire doesn't want to treat them that way. And this is going to begin to lead to a lot of conflict and tension between the American colonists and Great Britain. So increasing policies that limited the freedoms and rights of American colonists caused many to move away from Great Britain, and we're going to see this kind of push us towards what we're going to be discussing here later on, the American Revolution. So here's just some pictures of American colonists. You can kind of see their different backgrounds, their different ethnicities. So again, all this combination of all these different ethnicities, yes, it's hard and yes, it's difficult. And they all have different views and opinions, but they are going to eventually kind of come together to support the American Revolution. All right, so our closure here. How did Great Britain grow as a world power? Think about the different elements which are going to allow for Great Britain to grow as a world power, and think about some of the policies and expansion that Great Britain is going to use to expand its power as well. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night. Please try your best on the questions, and I hope to talk and see you all soon. Have a great day or night. Bye-bye.